Good evening and welcome to the September 11th, 2024 Planning Board meeting for the Town of Raymond. The Planning Board will come to order. We do have a quorum, and we'll start with attendance.
Mike Richmond.
Greg Foster.
Robert O'Neill.
Ed Kranich.
There's a public...
Kevin Woodbury.
Kevin.
Oh, Kevin. I'm sorry, Kevin. You always sneak in there. There's a public proceeding, and unless the board specifically votes to go into executive session, you have the right to hear everything that is being said and to look at all the exhibits that are presented. Please notify the chair if you're unable to see or hear. The board works from a published agenda and will be considering tonight's items in the following order. We have the approval of the minutes of the July 10th meeting, no old business, and a site plan review and public hearing, followed by some staff communications and updates. In each instance, the burden is upon the applicant to demonstrate compliance with the provisions of applicable ordinances or state law. All persons speaking, including representatives of the applicant and members of the public, are asked to stand at the microphone, state their name, address, and affiliation with the application. For a person speaking shall address the chair. Any conversation must be held in abeyance until after the board has formally adjourned. After the board votes on the merits of each application, it will prepare a written notice of decision. Because the notice of decision may substantially affect any appeals rights, and also as a matter of courtesy, the board asks that those attending the meeting with regard to a specific application not leave until the board has completed its discussion. Appeals from adverse decisions must be filed with the Superior Court or as otherwise provided by law within 45 days of this board's decision. That's it. Okay, so our first business is the approval of the minutes for July 10th, 2024. Any corrections, additions, deletions?
Move to accept the minutes.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Kevin?
Aye.
That's accepted. Actually, you have one set of business before we go to the new business. Our videographer for our November meeting is not going to be present. So Sue Look has asked us to reschedule it. The two dates that she gave me to reschedule are November 4th and November 8th. November 4th being a Monday, November 8th being a Friday, which I already discounted because it's a meeting on Friday.
Well, I guess you've got that now.
Yeah, so it's the 4th. I just want to throw the 8th out there just in case.
Oh, gosh.
Is that a problem for anybody?
No, not for me.
Kevin, you okay with November 4th?
Looks good just on my calendar.
Okay.
Day before Election Day.
What time is it?
It'll be our same time.
So,
Yeah. All right, so November 4th. And now to our new business. Site plan review and a public hearing. I'm just going to go with Ross and Peter because I'm going to mispronounce that name.
Bachelor or Bernier? Which one?
Oh, it's Bachelor. I would have gotten that probably close.
Yeah.
Bernier, I would have gotten that a problem. I said
Yeah.
Bachelor, I figured I wasn't going to get that one. All right. Jim, would you start us off?
Sure. This is for you tonight for private road extension. The board may remember they did a site walk last December for this. We walked the entire road and made some suggestions to the applicant for bringing Lookout Lane up to private road standard. With that, we made some recommendations. They finally have got back. To create a lot at the end of the road, they need to place a hammerhead. They can acquire the necessary frontage off the hammerhead. That hammerhead has to be built to town standards. Tonight before you is a plan. I don't know if they have started construction yet on this or in progress. However, it needs to be there are some things that need to be brought in to make sure that it complies with the town standards. This evening, we did get a late memo from Wayne. I don't think Wayne is on, but basically, it's the standard Wayne memo for requirements of no parking signs and making sure it has adequate radiuses for fire trucks. I think the recommendation was, because this is at the end of the road, we wanted them to increase the width down to the first driveway to an overall 16-foot width, 12-foot wide with 2-foot shoulders, up to the point of the turnaround. With the layout you have before you this evening, they would have to obviously bring that improvement within the confines of the right-of-way limit. And then there may have to be some minor drainage improvements because the land kind of starts sloping downhill away. And I think they may need a culvert under the leg of the driveway or turnout for the end of the T turnaround. The applicants are here, so we'll let them description. This is in the RR zone. It is in the watershed of, I believe, Panther Pond. And given this limited size, I don't think there's much they need to do for stormwater. It's a very small amount of impervious they're creating here. They may need a buffer or something like that, depending on what they end up doing with the drainage on the road.
Is this the project Dustin walked us through?
No, it was the owner. Remember Mr., I think it was
Peter.
the grandfather.
Oh, yeah, right, okay.
The feisty old man.
Yeah. Yep, okay.
He himself is an engineer.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
he worked for Grondin for
Yeah.
years. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the state.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm at the right project now. All right, would you like to tell us what you're going to do? Yep. You have to go up there, state your name.
I'm Ross Batchelder. I'm Peter Bernier's grandson. Just looking to build a 30 by 40 above garage apartment on our 2.55 acre lot that was gifted to us. We're gonna build the turnaround to all the road specs we have, widen the road out. The road was 12. We just cleaned the shoulders off because it was overgrown, so we did that this fall, I believe it was. And we dug the test holes to prove that the road was built to town standards, and that's what you have pictures of. And we're building the turnaround to the same standards that have been presented to us.
Okay. Pretty simple.
Pretty simple stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's just a matter of us making sure we get, a plan that shows the correct grading that we want for the terminus. It's a small footprint, basically, we're dealing with here, because we've already done the shoulders. So I think we feel comfortable that you could make this a condition that, they have to comply with the fire departments and our comments with regards to grading and drainage. I think those all can be handled primarily in the field or post-approval.
So do we have a drawing for this? I see you have one there. Is there?
There's a couple of them. I don't know if you guys.
Fire departments and our comments with regards to grading, drainage. I think those all can be handled primarily in the field or
What's
I think that's Wayne.
It's me.
Oh, it's you.
It's like a delay.
The delay, huh?
So they have the right-of-way marked out. They kind of show where I think there's an existing road or woods road that goes down through there. I think that just needs to be rotated and brought into the right-of-way confines a little bit. Then we provided a memo and discussing various aspects we're looking for.
Did you say you had correspondence from Wayne?
Yeah, tonight we got a late memo from Wayne, and basically within that, what do they do with it? It's the standard dead end.
Yep.
Fire department. We would just make it compliant that whatever conditions you put, that it be and include this.
Okay. Did you get a copy of that by chance?
Probably didn't. I didn't get it.
Yeah, I haven't.
This afternoon.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either.
Yeah, I have
But
not.
we can give it to you.
Okay.
It's the standard
Okay.
language for no parking signs.
Actually, I might
Sorry
have
about
that
guys.
from.
I didn't see that yet.
Okay.
Is it the, like, it was like a pamphlet, like a 3-page?
Yep.
Yep, we did get that,
Okay.
either at the site walk or when I went to the town.
Okay.
I might have gotten something when I met with Brent.
Probably the same one.
Oh, yeah, this one is
Well,
dated.
I'll send the new one to you tomorrow.
The one that I
Perfect.
got this evening was dated October 4th, but he sent it to me tonight, so.
Yeah, I do have that copy
have that?
then.
Okay. And then you're okay with everything that's in there?
Yep.
Okay.
And when we did the site walk, we talked because we had ledge on one side and the wetland on the other, so it didn't have to be the exact hammerhead as long as there was enough radius for the fire truck.
It has to, the only thing, it has to stay within the confines of whatever you designated for your right-of-way. So you've got that kind of T shape there.
Yep.
Those improvements have to, within the confines of that
Right.
T
It
shape.
can rotate and
It can rotate a little bit, but the turnaround for the fire department has to be within that T.
right.
Basically. So you can modify it a little bit, but there's not a whole lot of wiggle room.
Well, what are you trying to do in modifying it?
I was gonna get the turning radius because I have the specs on a fire truck, so it'll be large enough for a fire truck to spin around. But we have a telephone pole and wetland on one side and ledge and a property line on the other.
Yep.
So we can't, exactly do
Yeah,
that right at the mouth. And we had talked about it during the site
It
walk.
doesn't have
Okay.
to be perfectly centered in the middle of it. You have a little bit of wiggle room, but, again, I think once you get it going in the field, once you get it staked out,
Yep.
we can work with you as far as, getting it exactly how it should fit. We just have to make sure it's in the right space because we've got deeded right away here.
Right.
Wayne asked for an auto turn, the template.
Yeah, and that's what he's talking about, is trying to design that so it meets that.
Okay, he's got that.
Yeah, he's got-
software,
he's
he
got-
can do it.
Don't know if he's got the software to do it, but I think we can, if we have the radius, we can construct it.
Okay. So there'll be a plot plan showing all that, because this
Right,
really
I
doesn't
think
show.
that's where, tonight we can make approvals with conditions, but then we need a return plot plan with those conditions and to be signed.
Yeah.
That's basically what, we'll have to upgrade this plan a little bit based on the conditions the board sets forth.
Okay.
Then once you have that, then you're off to the races. It has to be recorded. It has to be recorded at the registry as well.
And I do have the 3 plans with the signature block here. That was asked to have. Is that something?
Well, we may have to wait on that.
Yeah, I don't
We may
think
have
we
to
can-
wait on, yeah, they were trying to get it signed tonight, but I think we'll have to get some conditions on that and make some changes.
What?
It's the same plan
It's
you're
the
looking
same- it's
at,
the
but it's
plan
just
you're
got the
looking at.
Oh, okay,
signature
that's the
blocks.
block,
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd have to get the conditions put on
We have
that.
to get the conditions put on that, and then we'd probably want a little grading shown and the drainage shown as well.
Right.
Minor stuff, but,
Which there should be. Is that the topographic one that shows the grading?
it shows the grading, but I think we were looking for a potential culvert under that leg.
Okay. I'm
Yeah,
pretty
just that's
positive that most of
contours
that's
on that.
ledge, not too far down.
Okay.
So I know what the road's crowned now to the left side of the road, and then it hits a culvert and then runs the wetland down, which is on that telephone pole side.
So either way, I mean, we can go, I think just somehow we got to get the water so it doesn't go overland over the road, whether it goes around and through a culvert on your driveway,
Yep.
or whether it goes through a culvert under the hammerhead itself somewhere.
Gotcha.
Okay, we just need to see that on the plan with, I think you've got some contours on there, but I think we're gonna have to flatten those out a little bit for the fire department. Might be a little too steep for them, because they need it pretty level to turn around.
Okay.
But I think those are all very correctable things that we can work with you.
All right.
Okay. So hang on one second there. Our first step is we do need to move that the application is complete, and I think we've decided that, right? So can I get a motion for that, please?
I move that we deem the application from Ross Batchelder complete.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Kevin?
Aye.
All right. Next step is I need to open a public hearing on this, which I will do now. If there's anyone that would like to speak for or against the project. Done? Okay. Next step would be then, Jim, do you have the conditions?
I didn't spell them out exactly, but I think we can probably quickly list them out.
And I'm wondering how we can do this without bringing them back next month.
Yeah, that's what my plan would be, is that we try to get these conditions and we can review them and then bring it back for your signature next month. Or are you trying to do it tonight so that you don't have to come
Well,
back?
when do you want to start this project, Ross?
As soon as possible.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Yesterday.
Yeah.
Day before yesterday.
Yeah.
And winter would have been nice.
Yeah, and then we got there is weather coming eventually.
I mean, the other thing we could do is we could approve it, and if they can get this turned around, we can have you guys come into the town and sign it.
Yeah, I think, would that be okay with the board?
Yeah.
Kevin, okay with you?
Good for me.
Okay, so why don't we get the list of conditions?
Okay.
We will, we can approve it with the list of conditions. You can, once you get those conditions satisfied, and it's really just kind of getting the stuff done on paper,
Yep.
you can then bring it, a little ahead of myself here, but you could bring that to the town. And when the town gets that all, and Jim and Sandy have got it, we'll come in and sign it. Once we sign it, you can start.
Gotcha.
And that way, it'll keep you from having to wait to the next meeting.
Okay.
So I think the main conditions that we'd be looking for would be design the hammerhead to a slope that can accommodate fire truck turnarounds, and for basically slopes and geometry that accommodate the fire chief's memo. And then we're looking for drainage improvements for either a culvert or ditching to show how that water, surface water, will be conveyed either around or under the hammerhead itself.
So as far as that goes, if the road is crowned to the left, would
It can be
that...
super elevated, or it can be
Right,
down.
so if the whole thing was just completely pitched away from the hammerhead, so it would be directed
Yeah,
towards the...
can't be more than 2% cross slope.
Yep.
And I don't know if we have that on here. Typically, we like to see, the condition we might have is a typical cross-section of what that road would look like.
Okay.
Surface slope and material.
Yeah, I think there was one of the hammerhead, yeah.
Okay. We just want something of that nature on the plan that needs to be recorded.
Okay.
Okay, so if you can transfer that over, maybe we'll help you clean it up a little bit, but
Yep.
transfer that over to the plan so that we can get it signed. I think, other than that, it's just then referencing the fire chief's memo.
Do we also have to point out the width? Because in your list,
I
Yeah.
think
Under
we
width.
can, yeah, the width is they've already done.
they've
already
built it?
Yeah,
Okay.
but I mean, yeah, I think that's already shown on the plan as well. On this, well, on the older plan I have, maybe not your plan, but on the older plan it is. So yeah, you can include that if you want. I don't think there's any harm in including that.
If the reduction doesn't require a waiver, we're just going to accept it as 12?
Well, here's the interesting part. We've done this before with a couple other private roads where there's less than 4 lots on the end of this, so it would meet that lesser town standard for those last few houses. If any other, we may want to put a note on that if any other further development happens on that, that road would have to be widened to
16 feet.
16 feet.
Okay.
But for now, it would only have to be 12.
Nice going, Ed. That's my phone.
Thought you were
I thought that
cutting
was
some boards over there.
I get for not putting it on silent there.
I would just have one recommendation of graphics for, I guess, a plan that's going to be recorded. I would just recommend they take the color off.
Yeah.
No, this is the one that'll be
We've got to
recorded.
do a plan.
It's not on that? Thank you.
Yep.
And maybe just label it,
Yeah, and I
Current
think we'll
access
work with
road.
them to,
something. It threw me off. I
Yeah.
was thinking that was the new one, and it was flipping a property. So
yes,
just
exactly. That's why I was like saying.
clean it up. Thanks.
So I think that, and again, get a typical cross-section of what they're building out there, so we know the depths and everything, and then that'll have to have the signature block for recording, but we'll we'll work with them to get that cleaned up. Again, I don't think it's such a small footprint that I don't see any major hurdles here. Other than, you just have to work with the ledge.
Lots of it.
So,
Digital copy?
we don't,
We don't need it?
well, we typically, I like to have them, but,
I think I had scanned in anything that we have
Yeah.
that wasn't the 24 by 36.
who did your plan for you? Eaton?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eaton
The
probably-
surveying.
Yeah, I think Eaton probably can provide us a PDF once we get the final plan, so we have a digital copy. That's all or we can scan it, one or the other.
I have digital copies of that as well.
Yeah, but we're gonna have to modify it, so we'll need a new copy of the digital, that's all.
Okay.
All right.
So
Everybody happy?
I think so. We can approve it then with these conditions. All right, I move to approve the application with the following conditions. Show a hammerhead for emergency vehicles. Show contours for drainage and proposed drainage installations if needed with a 2% maximum slope on the hammerhead. And show compliance with the width requirement, which is 12 feet. And note that any additional lots will require widening the road to 16 feet.
And then also include conformance with the fire department's memorandum
Okay.
dated October 4th.
Okay, so conformance with the fire department memo 10/4/23.
Second that.
Should be 24, but I think he copy and pasted that.
Second. Is there any discussion? Kevin, you okay?
Good.
All right. All those in favor? Kevin?
Aye.
Done. Passed. So Ross is going to come in and see you, Jim, and
Yeah, I can see Brett and I, and we'll work through how to show what we want to see on the plan.
okay.
So we can schedule a meeting whenever.
You want my notes to put on
I
here?
think we've got, Brett will take.
All right. Staff communications and updates.
I think the next course of action for this board would be to, I think we've talked about it a little bit, is to start the process for 2025 ordinances.
Yep.
Everybody pulling together, things they'd like to see change, things that we need to change, errors, omissions, things like that. Formulate our list so we can get that. I don't think, do we have anything at the next meeting? Sandy, do we have any applications forthcoming or expected?
Yes.
Yes, we do, Jim. But you're not involved. Port Harbor,
Oh, oh boy.
Always coming back.
project that will never end.
Well,
It should be easy, though. Well, I say that.
so I don't know if you want to do a potential workshop before that, to just to kind of set in motion where we want to go, and Brett and I and Chris and others can start formulating some layouts.
Do you have issues?
I think Chris may have a list of some stuff that's come up during the course of the year. I think
Okay.
the one biggie that I think we kind of left hanging out there is ADU.
Yep.
I think that's the biggest one we need to look at.
Or are we waiting on the state for
We're
that?
waiting on the state, and I think that's a question that we probably should get back to the attorney, because they were the ones that advised us to wait.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's some communication that should happen back to them to see what's come forth in that time frame, because I know other communities have all dealt with it.
Oh, okay.
Completely all different. There's no concise,
consistency.
there's no consistency, so we're kind of on an island, what we want to do. The other piece of this, too, I know we talked about, but I think we were waiting on the comp plan, was maybe some discussions about affordability, affordable housing, and bonus affordable housing.
Yep.
I don't know if we're ready for that yet, or whether we want to wait till the comp plan's complete before we implement that. And then, I don't know, do you have any off the top of your head that you've thought of?
Just some minor things that we ran into, like the reviewing authority one.
Yep, with some,
Just some clarity there.
there's some discrepancies in amongst the various types of ordinance about who does what when. It just
Okay.
needs to be clarified.
Yep.
It's confusing
Yep.
language, basically.
Okay.
Aren't we going to readdress the solar ordinance?
Well, there's an ordinance that's already been enacted, revised and enacted, but it does not prohibit, I don't believe that does prohibit the board from going back and looking at doing, I know when we looked at those applications, buffering was one of the bigger ones.
Right.
We had discussions, so we can put it on the list, see where it stands, see how the board feels, what recommendations you'd like to see.
Yeah, I think they expected us to readdress it completely and work out what the town really wanted, you know.
Who's they, Kevin?
Well, the people that came up and did the override.
You think they wanted us to revisit?
Yeah, I thought so.
Okay.
So it's, again, I know it was a concern when that application came forth.
Yep.
I do think that we may see other solar farm systems in other zones.
Yep.
So it would be prudent maybe to start looking at that to see what those impacts would be. I think
All right.
primarily the only zone that's left is really rural, right, for solar farms at this point, rural or industrial, which we don't have much.
I wonder if the Comprehensive Plan Committee has even discussed that at all.
Greg?
Some,
Yes.
yeah, we have, but
Yeah.
Well, I agree, and I think that as far as you're listening to Peter, we may want to wait till the comp plan is finished before we start.
yeah, we're gonna have a hearing and all that,
Yeah.
so it would make sense to wait.
To wait,
Yeah.
okay. So comp plan stuff, but I guess the,
Well, the ADU stuff is,
ADU
I
shed.
think I know this July was when it was enacted by the state. So we may be behind, but I don't think we've had any requests yet. But I think it's something that we need to get back on the band. And I think that one's going to take a little bit of time, because every community I've been in so far, this has been a very confusing issue on how it gets implemented, where and how and who reviews.
Could we get a copy of what the state has enacted and, that?
Yeah, it's the same as what you had before. I don't know, they may have made a couple minor revisions to that, but yeah, we could reach out and get a copy of the LD 2003.
and then can we cheat a little bit and get what our neighboring communities have done?
We can, but there's no consistency.
Well, it still would be nice to, as a model, is to see which direction.
Because some towns have completely banned them in shoreline zoning, other towns have,
Oh, unless are you fairly familiar with the other towns?
yeah.
Oh, well, okay, then you can just brief us. That's fine.
But like I said, every town has been advised by their attorneys, and they all have a different spin on where and how. I mean, it's supposed to be really isolated to your growth zone. Some towns blocked shoreline zoning, other towns, put other constraints in there that if you have the accessory dwelling unit, you still have to have the density for that. So, and some communities
Okay.
didn't.
So, go ahead, Kevin.
I also think there was some concern about being able to cut more trees, percentage of trees, to allow private solar to thrive, because there's a limitation, and it's pretty hard to wedge in solar when you have a lot of trees around. So there may be some, and I think there's some, not here, and then maybe somewhere in the state or in other states that have allowed more cutting of trees and to enable, private solar, not commercial, but the private solar.
Beyond what could fit on the roof.
Right.
Right, because you can have, do we have, Kevin, I know you're probably more astute than I am right now, but do we have a limitation as far as a freestanding size panel that a private citizen could have?
I don't think so, no.
Because I know that those are also, because the trackers is what I kind of call them. They're out there too, and some people have those in there for private use.
Right.
I think if you go up through Poland, you'll see one, there's a self-storage facility up there. They've got one behind the main building up there, and I think they're like, what, 48 panels or something like that on one tracker?
You can get them very large in there or very,
Yeah.
small, but yeah, you can, depends on the size of the panels. Panels also come in different,
Yeah.
varying
I
sizes.
think that one's roughly 30 by 40 or something like that. It's a good size panel that rotates during the course of the day.
Okay.
So, I mean, those are things that we can take a look at as we've got more knowledge and observations of where they're going and how they're being used.
So we can more formalize next meeting if you want.
Right.
Um,
I think we should just kind of
we
have
can-
us and staff prepare a list. You guys prepare anything that you'd like to see. Kevin, whatever, submit it back through Brett or Chris.
Right.
And then we'll kind of prepare kind of a list of where those fall in the ordinances.
Mhm.
Then we can take them to say, okay, these are clerical, these are full brand-new
Yep.
rewrites, or these are minor revisions, and then you can, from there, I think we can channel it down to where the energy has to go.
All right, and we'll reach out to the lawyer, I guess,
Yeah, I think that'd have to come through Chris.
through Chris
Yeah.
on the ADU.
Because Alex was dealing with Phil before, but I think it would be, Chris would reach out to Phil
Mhm.
and get an update as to what do they recommend at this point.
Okay,
So,
all right. So Sandy, did you catch all that for the November meeting? Oh, no, wait a minute. October meeting, excuse me.
Yep.
Yeah, for
Skipped a
October,
month.
yes.
Yeah, which should be fine, because I don't think Port Harbor's going to take that much time. You haven't
I
actually
don't-
seen anything yet, have you? Sandy?
It's on my desk. It'll go out to you all tomorrow.
But it's not a huge change, right?
No, it's changing the roof line.
Yeah. We already do that once, didn't we? We already changed the roof line once?
Yeah. we had a building.
They repositioned the building.
Finalized it?
I don't know.
I thought we did that once already. Okay, all right, thank you, Sandy. All right,
So I think we'll
And I
try,
already have Will on board.
okay,
so we'll try to I think we can help categorize, the effort for each, minor, clerical,
Yep.
major. So the board can then focus on where it has to spend its energy going forward. My guess it's going to be the ADU.
okay.
I have a question, Mr. Chair.
Yes?
How do you want that on the agenda? Just as a discussion point for the board or a workshop for the board?
I don't, as a discussion, I don't think we're to the workshop stage yet.
I didn't think so either, but you're in charge.
Well, I mean, you can do,
Yeah.
you can do a workshop. I mean, you can do it before the public hearing if you want, half an hour before, or
Well,
you can do it after. If you
Yeah, I'd
don't
like to
think
get
about
I'd like to get it into some sort of organization first, and then we can, we'll see which ones go where, and then we can easily do the workshop for the next meeting.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to be, I don't think, we don't have anything right now, so. Don't have it. Besides this, Mike, do you have anything?
Do not.
Yeah, you have some things you've mentioned. Do you want it for ordinance review?
I'd like to see our shoreline zone change to what the state minimum standard is, 250.
I think you brought that up about 10 years ago. I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, same thing. And we've already talked.
Yeah, I don't really have.
Okay, so that's, all right, so that's like a place to go. All right, what's next?
Move to adjourn?
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Done.